Alright guys, so what I'm going to talk about now is shooting on shutter priority mode. So if you can locate that there's a dial on the top of your camera, if you have a Canon, it would look something like this with the, actually something like this with the M, the AV, the TV, and the P. Whereas if you have a Nikon, it would look something like this with the M, the A, and the SP. So if you're shooting the Nikon, you're going to turn the dial towards the S. If you're shooting Canon, you're going to turn the dial towards the AV. And this will give the priority to your shutter. And you can change it's a semi-automatic mode. You can change the shutter speed and the camera will automatically set the aperture number or the f-stop, right?
Did you say TV or AV?
TV.
Okay.
AV is aperture priority. And we talked about the aperture the other day being like the pupil of the eye, and you can open it or close it, make it bigger and smaller. Those numbers correspond with the size of your aperture. So your camera will automatically change the size of your aperture to get a correctly exposed image. The one problem though is that camera doesn't have a brain, right? So if you're pointing something, I talked about the first day we met, if you're pointing something that is not that mean or average of the highlights, the shadows, the midtone, you don't have that. Like for example, if you're shooting at the beach where there's a lot of white sky and light reflecting off the water, that's actually more in the white range of the grayscale. Therefore, you may have to do what's called exposure compensation. But for right now, we're going to assume that you're looking for an even middle gray overall tone, right? So you're going to start to find the shutter speed number. So how do you find the shutter speed number on your camera? Oftentimes it may be like, the number may be like 250, 1,000. And what that number represents is a fraction of a second. So that's
Stop. Why is nothing happening?
that's it. So you see that there's a fraction. Yeah.
Is that why when you hold the button with the shutter speed on, it takes a little longer for it to take the photo? Like it'll suck in and then it'll go.
That delay in when you press on the button usually has to do with the autofocus thing. Usually, because these digital SLR cameras, they should respond instantaneously. When you click that shutter, it should take it. Like if you were to pop your lens onto manual focus mode, and you had it focused, and once you had the image focused and you press down on the shutter, it should correspond immediately. There should be no delay on these cameras. The point and shoot digital cameras sometimes have a delay, yes? Do you have a question? Okay, so you can change the shutter speed, right? And so, you know, shutter speeds sometimes go up to like 1/1000th of a second, 2/2000th of a second, even faster. And what that does is the faster the shutter speed, what does that do to motion? If something is going fast by, we talked about this. If something is like, you know, a car racing by and you're at a fast shutter speed, what would that do versus the slow shutter speed? Yeah.
How do you change it?
Hold on, answer my question.
It will go, it will just stop.
Blurry or sharp?
Sharp?
Sharp if it's a what? If it's opening and closing faster or slower?
Slower?
Slower would give you blur.
No.
So you would have like a trail, fast, which is a higher number. Yeah, you got it. You understand? Yes, what's your question?
How do you change the shutter speed?
So you turn the dial, right? I think you can help her change her shutter speed a little bit. Did you all see how to change your shutter speeds now? You can start to play with that number.
This one?
Maybe Kit can.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yes.
We learned that two of these cameras.
Stop the video.
We learned that.
All right, kids, let's get to it now. So the basic rules of working with shutter priority that I want you to be aware of in terms of the numbers is, you know, this is kind of shutter speed. That's going to be way too slow. Your pictures are going to be blown out. The whites and the light highlights are going to have no detail in them. What you want to be is somewhere probably at 1/25th or higher. And some of your cameras go to 1,000, 2,000th of a second. Yeah, I mean, depending on the model, it could go up pretty high. But I really would like you today to be shooting. We're going to do some portrait, some landscape shots of the Verrazano Bridge with the sky. I want you to be somewhere in the range of like 1/100th of a second to 500th of a second, maybe 1,000th of a second. And what I want you to pay attention to as you're changing it, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the same picture over and over again, maybe 3, I would suggest, 3 of the same picture, but change the shutter speed. And what I want you to be conscious of is the details in the sky. How blue is the sky? How white are the sky? Are there clouds showing in the sky? All right, guys, so let's go out and shoot and have some fun. Okay, so what you're doing now is you should start at a starting point, do 250th of a second shutter speed for those of you who can control and have digital SLR cameras. And what I want you to do is check the sky, see if it's white, see how dark it is or how much detail is in it, and then go from there. You can go.
What's the second shutter speed?
How does it look? Does it look too white or too dark?
It looks too blue.
Looks too blue? So, but
That one I really like, but the one I took after that one I don't love is.
What-
I don't like the.
what don't you
Verrazano.
like about it?
I don't really like it because it was too dark. I felt like.
Show it to me.
I feel like it was too dark.
Where was it too dark in the photo?
I feel like the sky was too dark.
The sky is too dark. So then you want to slow down the shutter speed and you want to make it like 1/25th of a second. Try that.
Okay.
Okay? So lower the number, the slower the shutter speed.
It's the ISO speed, right?
No, it's not the ISO is how sensitive it is to light, like in the old days film speed. So
I can't.
okay, so as you go down in number, the
old
shutter
timey.
speed, you're gonna get a whiter sky. What are some of the shutter speed numbers that you all are liking?
Wait, how do I
I'm trying to change my shutter speed, but